Now, say my name.
The Rolling Bad Podcast.
You're goddamn right.
Welcome to the Rolling Bad Podcast, episode number 60. Coming to you from the desolate wasteland of Albuquerque, New Mexico, and the snow-capped hinterlands of Durango, Colorado. We're recording on January 12th, and I'm your host, Bill Costello, and with me is...
Ryan Taylor.
Yeah. So we weren't able to make the trip, so we're having to do this one over Discord, so...
Yeah, it's probably good. My car's not 100% after being in an accident, and my wife's not feeling too great. So, unfortunately, the trip could not be made.
Yep,
so.
I hear you. Yeah, that's why we're actually recording a week late, is because you got rear-ended.
I did. You're rear-ended by a car that stopped behind me, but the person behind that did not stop.
Didn't decide not to. Always fun.
But it was fun. But the guy admitted fault, like, straight away.
That's good.
And then hopefully this week I get my car fixed. So
nice.
I'm pretty quick. So
nice. That's
not too bad. And no one was seriously hurt, I don't think. The person behind me, I watched her in my rear view mirror and she bounced around like a fanatic, for sure.
Ooh, good segue. Good tie-in.
See what I did there?
I do. Oh, that's awesome. So, yeah, in the show today, obviously, we're going to talk a little bit about small green people and large trolley people. We're going to talk about some other stuff in the New Dawn. We've got a couple of things to announce or to talk about, upcoming things. We're going to do our normal creation, and we're going to use the lore segment this time to cover the realm of Shyish, which is probably one of the most well-developed realms out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's had an entire supplement almost devoted to it.
Yeah.
Or the results of what's going on there. So, yeah, I mean, we'll go fairly in-depth in it, but most of it will be, hey,
you knew this.
Take a look at the new books. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then we're also going to jump in a little bit more to our narrative stuff that we've been talking about. This time we're going to cover different kinds of campaigns like map campaigns and freeform and ladder and all that stuff. We'll go over that in a little bit of detail. And we also have a question from a subscriber and a Patreon guy. He asked us earlier during the week, and we both kind of thought about it and said, we probably need to talk about that on the show because it's an interesting sort of discussion point. I don't think we're going to fix anything or solve anything, but it's going to be interesting to talk about. The very last of our giveaways.
Yeah, we'll be able to announce the winners from, I can't even remember the hashtag now, but it's actually pretty bad.
It's been like 3 weeks. It was Karanak, by the way.
Hashtag Karanak.
Yeah. And so one of the boxes this week going out has a airbrush in it. That's all I'm saying.
Ooh,
I know. But before we jump into the New Dawn, I'd like to throw a quick shout out to our latest Patreon subscriber, and that is Jason Dowley. So thank you, Jason, for helping support the show. Really appreciate it.
Yep, we really do appreciate it. It all goes back into the show and helps Bill really host the show, or helps cover some of the costs for hosting the show and his time that's spent on there. So that's great. Thank you very much, Jason.
Yeah, because we're getting pretty fat rich off this show, so,
Yeah, well, the Lamborghini is not going to park itself.
Exactly.
Your Patreon money goes to butler number 4, who is the valet. Oh.
Wow, you have 4? I got to catch up. Damn.
Yeah, 3 of them are my wife, and one of them's my dog. So,
all right, let's go over to New Dawn.
Sounds great. Welcome to the New Dawn, where we're going to talk about all the new stuff from Games Workshop over the last, 3 weeks, because we're a little bit late on the recording here, but it's good because we've been able to see a bunch of stuff and we can actually see it, and some of it's in our hands as well.
Yeah.
Sometimes we just talk about it when it's just been released and we've not been able to get it in our hands. But the first thing that I want to mention, I think, is on pre-order this week, and that is Urban Conquest for 40k.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know too much about this. I think it's tied into the Vigilus campaign, right?
It is, yeah. It's a campaign system for doing city fighting in 40K, and it looks like it has a really interesting system where you have a whole bunch of cards that are going to sort of detail your city map, and then you lay them out on this one mat, I guess, if you will, that comes with the box set. And you can actually fight a city campaign with different types of resources and different types of objectives. It looks really cool. I think it's a neat system. I don't know if it really dovetails like Firestorm did, you know, if it's the same kind of theory or if they've taken it in a slightly different direction, but it looks pretty cool. I'm looking forward to it. I ordered it.
I mean, it definitely looks a bit more comprehensive than Firestorm was. You know, it's got some scenery. It's got some, what looks like some strategy cards.
It has the actual terrain cards for to build your city.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it looks a little bit more. I mean, it still looks like it comes with some stickers, which everybody loves.
Oh, big time.
Unless that's actually not stickers and just card. Should probably actually read the description. But anyway, stickers are cool.
Yep.
I would guess that they are stickers so that you can, or even just tokens to move up the board.
Right.
So that you can see. Yeah, taking a look at it. I mean, if you're going to be taking part in Vigilus anyway, I think, and it doesn't have to be Vigilus, but taking a look at the example that they've got on there is, you know, the Aegis City Shield Generator, which just reminds me of the story of the orcs running around and bashing into it. So I think that'll be a great addition to the game. Some stories. People will definitely be able to get some stories on the go from that.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
So that's the first thing. New White Dwarf came out as well. New layout. Did you manage to get your hands on it?
I sure did, yeah. I
mean, I'm not surprised, but
shouldn't be. Yeah, it's I like the new layout. I like the new format a lot. I hate, you know, I know we keep saying this and we sound like fanboys, or at least I do because I am, but the White Dwarf just keeps getting better and better. You know, it used to be you'd pick up an an issue, and yeah, go ahead and laugh at me. Okay.
It's okay.
But there might not be anything in it for your chosen game. Now they're taking steps to make sure there's something in there for every system. And in this one, and going to dovetail into our next little topic, one of the things that's in there for the Age Sigmar crowd is John Bracken, who you should all know, or most everyone should know. He was the event coordinator for Games Workshop for a long time. Now he's in the design team, but he redid Skirmish for Age of Sigmar. And I think really, I mean, I've read through the whole thing, and I think it's going to bring Skirmish back from the dead. I hope it does anyway, because Skirmish is fun, and these new rules clear up a lot of the weird stuff that's come out in the game since that was released. Yeah,
so I know that you were a big fan of Skirmish when it first came out, and then I think you felt like it got a bit unfun.
Well, it got weird because you could bring things that just, you know, sort of overbalanced it. You really had to be careful, and you could actually bring things that you thought were balanced and appropriate, and come to find out they're really not. So. Mm-hmm. But, you know, he's got a new way of calculating points in there, and it's pretty straightforward. And, you know, the restriction, no summoning of any kind, you know, just a lot of the things that people were doing by house rules are now set in stone. And I think it's really well done. Super well done, actually. I'm looking forward to knocking out a game of it, really.
Oh, good. We can, because I know you wanted to try smaller 500-point games, but I actually think Skirmish is the best way to start narrative, but we'll get to that later. But I definitely want to try and pick it up before it stops being sold. Unfortunately, I don't have a Games Workshop to just go and pick it up in.
Well, and I'll just go grab you a copy tomorrow at the store. So
I mean, if you have to go to the store, sure.
Yeah, you know, it's going to be such an imposition, but I'll do it.
But yeah, I wanted to have a read through it because also you can subscribe to it. It's $9 a year.
Right.
In US money. And they give you now a reason to do it outside of the fact that they're trying to get it to you before street date. And that is the cover is full art. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's a small thing, but it kind of allows you to have a cool collection for the collector in you.
And you know, it really is a small thing, but it really is pretty cool to have, because a lot of time the artwork on the front of the White Dwarf is really good. and yet there's all that writing that's over the top of it, and you're just like, ah, damn, that ruins it. So yeah, to have that new cover for the subscribers is pretty cool.
Yeah, I nearly just went ahead and subscribed to it, but I missed the cutoff.
Oh.
So if anybody's listening, if you are going to subscribe to it, I got asked this question the other day. If you want to subscribe to White Dwarf, you need to be subscribed by the 13th of the month.
Oh.
The previous month, and you will get the next month. That's when your subscription will start. So if you subscribe now, for example, like today, you'll start in February. If, when this episode drops, on probably the 13th, you'll still have a few hours to do it. But if it drops on the 14th, then your subscription will actually start in March. So if you're trying not to miss an issue, then make sure that you're picking it up outside of your subscription, just in case you're thinking you're going to get February's when you'll actually get March.
Good call. Good call. Good to know, actually. Really.
Yeah, I was just disappointed that they didn't announce the cover in December, because that would have been nice. Because then I would have been like, okay, I'm on it.
Yeah.
Because the collector in me goes, okay, well, I'll start in February, and now I don't have all the full page art. So, not that I'm like that, I'm not impulsive at all.
No, not at all.
With that. So, the next thing that we're going to talk about is Flying Monkey Con 2019.
Yeah. Yeah, the guys over there in Kansas are doing a con, Flying Monkey Con again. They did it last year. We actually had them on last year to talk about it and to tell us all about Kansas. So we're going to reach out to them real quick, but they put up some stuff on Twitter, so I figured I'd talk about it right now real quick. It's June 21st to the 23rd, 2019, Wichita, Kansas at the Hotel Broadview. So I imagine it's going to be just as good as it was last year. Heard a lot of good things about it last year. And don't forget, Flying Monkey guys also have a podcast as well. So yeah, I'm sure if you want to hear a lot more about it, you can probably go to their podcast and they'll probably talk a little bit about it. So, but I just wanted to get that out there, and hopefully we'll get them on here to talk about it.
That'd be great. And yeah, if anybody else is running an event that we don't know about, let us know. And just assume that we don't know about it. So get in touch.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a mysterious thing. But we'd love to give a shout out to any event that's coming up. The more people that go to these events, the more successful they are, the more we'll have. So
that's exactly it. Yeah.
So I think that's it for the new dawn.
Yeah.
I think as the dawn goes down and we get into night, the moon rises.
What moon would that be?
The bad moon.
Oh, that one.
Bad moon.
Very nice.
To quote the Loon King, the moon spoke to me once. Will it speak to us again? No, probably not. But it's a new release. So unless you've been living under a loon shrine for the last couple of months, Bloomspike Gits have been released.
Yes.
So half of them are released, half of them are on pre-order this week. We've seen on the Warhammer TV them being played, both with pretty much just what was released in the first half, and then the Loon King himself, Donald Taylor, taking them in the second week. So what do you think? What do you think of this storybook?
I'll tell you one thing. This isn't an army that calls out to me. This isn't something that I want to play, but just the overall look and the feel of this thing is so over the top. It's amazing. I love it. I love looking at all the stuff. And, our Elric, the guy who used to host with us, he actually started a WhatsApp group for Troggoths and what have you. And there is a lot of buzz about people playing this army. And, there's a lot of holdovers from 8th edition that had Grot armies. So this is a huge win for them. I mean, this is big. It's a great release. The models, you have some models. How do they look?
They look great. I mean, I picked up today some squigs, and comparing the detail and the character fullness, if that's even a word.
I think so.
Of the squigs themselves to the ones that I have that are in both Finecast and Metal. It's night and day. It really is. I like the old squig models. And when I say old squig models, I mean the ones that were current up until about a week ago.
Yeah.
They've taken the design from the previous armies and just turned it up. that's all they've done, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. I also picked up the Loon King in the book, obviously.
Nice.
Why wouldn't you pick up the book? But
well, yeah.
Yeah, and he's great. I'm a bit miffed as to why he's in a box, but he's a single sprue, which probably could have been put in
a blister.
In a blister. There's a lot of packaging here, DW. I mean, it makes it feel like a premium product.
Sure.
Don't get me wrong, but I think you could have easily just put this guy in a blister. But whatever. He looks super cool. He's also seemingly ridiculous in the game.
Oh,
but he's still just a little grot to be killed. Yeah, so Squigs. And I like that they've even updated there was the Squig that had, the Goblin and the Squig card that played the bagpipes or the Squig pipes. Yeah, no, it's a really great release. I think some of my highlights from it, I mean, special mention does have to go to the Rock Gut Troggoths. Oh, yeah. And what I like about them is completely new design, new direction from Games Workshop, being able to put it into plastic. There's three in the box. And all three of them look like the classic metal version that was available.
Really?
Beforehand. Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
You've got the guy with the rock above his head. There was already one of them, but he's feeding a little bird on his head, which is kind of fun. There's a guy with a pickaxe and a rock in one hand. Again, exact same pose almost, just in the new aesthetic. And then there was a guy with a big club. And they've got that as well. So I think that's absolutely fantastic that they've been able to refresh that line, but keep a little bit of homage to the original models. So, how about you? What's your favorite from the release?
I hate to say it, and it's really dumb, but that Loon Shrine is just crazy. I'm not buying anything for the army, but I did buy the Loon Shrine just because I want to build and paint that thing. It looks so over the top cool that I just had to have it. And it's probably, of all the things that came out, it's probably the most sedate, but I think the whole line just looks crazy good.
Yeah, I agree. I think probably my true highlight has to be the new Mangler Squig kit. It's a feat of engineering to take the old, wibbly wobbly model.
Yeah.
And then create in a way that not only looks fantastic, but is also just weirdly put together from what I can see to support that big squig on the top. Not only does it have the chains, I've been trying to work out how it stays up since they went up on Friday, both variants. And it seems to be that not only have you got this thick chain at several parts on it, they connect to the one on the bottom, but the bottom foot connects to the Goblin on both variants in different ways.
Right.
To give the illusion that it's floating, but it's on there. But it's just amazing. I'm looking at it right now, spinning it around on the website.
The aesthetic is just over the top. I mean, it is so well done.
There's plenty of other models in the release. We could spend 25, 30 minutes.
Easily. Going
over every single model. But just go to the Games Workshop website and do what I'm just in now, which is just spinning them around.
Yeah, it's... if you don't find something to like in that range, there's something wrong.
Oh, and then the sneaky snufflers. That's right. Squigs with noses.
Yeah.
I forgot about them. The weirdest looking squigs we ever did see, but also just super cool.
Oh, yeah.
Check that out. And I think that kind of rounds up New Dawn, unless you've got anything else.
No, I really don't. I do not.
Okay. We'll take a quick break, and then we'll be back with the Realm of Creation.
And now, the Realm of Creation, where we talk about all the silly things that we've done. So, none of it is silly, actually. As for me, I forgot to put up pictures of this one, but I painted up a Numinous Oculum because it was just sitting around in the room and I wanted to get rid of it. So I did a quick paint job on it to have another piece of scenery for hopefully an event later on in February. But that one, I'll put pictures up for that one up on the Facebook page later today when I get them. I did it real simple. I just did kind of I left it sort of a black background and then highlighted just the dragon in red, and then the fiery parts, I sprayed them with different washes of yellow and orange and red. to make it look like fire. And then I just did the lettering in a vibrant green so that it would stand out. And I think it looks pretty good. Did I show you pictures of that one?
I think you did send them in the chat. I was just trying to see if I could find them.
I think I did, but it was a while back. I finished that one like around Christmas time. But then my latest effort was to finish up the unit of Murmorn Banshees for the narrative game that we're going to play. So knock those out. I put those up on the Facebook page, and people seem to like what they look like. So I'm jazzed.
I think it's a unique scheme, right? A lot of people have seen white sprayed, then oxide coated over, or even the Night Haunt Gloom. Whereas you've got that cool purple and 80s theme.
Yeah.
As I like to think of it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was actually talking to the fellow that does the Sonic Sledgehammer YouTube channel. And it was funny because during the live stream, the Warhammer stream yesterday, we were having a chat on the side. I was thanking him for his, doing the work on his channel because he does really great painting videos. He was like, "Well, I'd love to see pictures," because I told him I painted mine kind of along the way he taught on his video, and so I just real quick put those pictures up, and he got a kick out of them. So that's a good thing. I like that. That's another thing I want to shout out in creation is Sonic Sledgehammer. So it's 2 words, Sonic Sledgehammer on YouTube. Guy does great painting videos. He does orcs. It doesn't. He's very game agnostic. He'll do bolt action one day and 40K the next day and AOS the next day. So, he's got really great technique and a really good way of doing stuff. And he's a lot of fun he makes the videos fun to watch. So highly recommend that channel.
I'll have to check him out.
Yeah, he's a good guy. So, and then my last thing is I got the December asset drop box. Boy, this one was a surprise. It was pretty cool. I really like this one. In it, you got terrain washes that come from Germany, and they're very, very cool. They look. I can't even begin to describe them without going into detail from the book here, but I think they're going to be a big boon to doing terrain in the future, especially the wooden hues and all this stuff. I won't even begin to pronounce the names.
Das washes.
Yeah, Das.
I mean, anything that's German, you just put Das in front of it. Yeah. So Das Brown, Das Green. Yeah. I'm sure that's how it works.
Well, this first one is Algenmus, and then the other one is Dunkelschatten. So.
Oh, Dunkelschatten.
Yeah.
Oh, easy. That's I'm guessing a washy color.
Yeah, but when you see the stuff he puts in the handbook, they're very cool. They look very good. Also in the box was a couple of paintbrushes from Mig Jimenez, Ammo by Mig. Though the one brush is pretty interesting. It's a synthetic saw brush, so the bristles are actually sawtooth. So you can get some really crazy effects with it. If you don't go heavy-handed with it, you're going to get some really interesting effects of, almost like streaking with it, if you will. So that one looks really cool. And then it's got a good liner brush in there. And then there's some other, there's some Hataka paints, and I'm beginning to really like those Hataka paints. They're very cool. So this one's a blue. This is a triad of blues, which are really, really cool. And then, again, one of my favorite paint lines, the Dark Star Molten Metals are there in the Victorian gold and the silver. Boy, he does a great thing in the pamphlet, how to make a really old-looking gold. And it just looks, I can't wait to try this. I just cannot wait. So another really good asset drop box. Really good one.
Yeah, that worked really well with your Night Hunt sort of antique gold sort of thing.
Yes.
So I've not done much. Been in a slight car accident, and my wife being ill has not helped with the hobby stuff. I did see a great hobby video though just last week. I mean, I think it should be on YouTube, but it wasn't. It was just in our chat, and it was Bill finally opening a sealed box.
I put that up there as I was laughing. I was putting it up there, going, "This is for you, Ryan. Thanks a lot."
See what you made me do? I think we should totally throw that on the Facebook page at least.
I should do that, yeah. I'll do that.
Because it was the funniest video in the world. I felt the pain as you were slowly slicing open that cellophane that's on there. But The other thing that I've done, whilst I've not been hobbying per se, I have been taking my hobby room and trying to reorganize it. So there's been a lot of really useful boxes, a lot of tackle boxes, and getting an actual bookcase and shelving.
Nice.
I still want to get a Detolf to show painted models, but
Yep.
I now have the ability to. I got rid of the wire shelving that was in here.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And replaced it with an actual bookcase. So models I can have different tiers going through my books up there, as well as I think I can arrange it so that I can get a 6x4 table set up and people can walk around it. Which my room is really weird for the listeners that haven't seen it, which is pretty much all he is. It's a 10 by 12 foot room, which makes it just a little bit awkward for setting up a 6x4 table.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't sound like it would, but it's just a really weird shape and size. I mean, it's square,
right?
But it's just the way the room works. So moved my computer, my hobby desk and stuff like that, condensed it down from a 6x3 area into a 4x3. So
nice.
It just gives a little bit more room. Oh, and I also got a nail polish rack to attach to the wall. So it holds about 100-ish GW paint.
Nice.
It was $30 off of Amazon, and it just screws onto the wall. It works really well. So the D6 generation, actually, a podcast I used to listen to a long time ago, they're still going. I just haven't listened to them in a while. They were commenting on, hey, I just got this, and they showed a picture, and I was like, oh, that's a great idea, because it just frees up desk space. I know you've got your similar one at your door, right?
Yeah. Behind the door, I just have a whole bunch of molding racks knocked into the wall and put all my paints on there. So
so this one holds enough paints. When I told my wife that they didn't fit all my paints into the one rack, she thought the solution was to get less paints.
You should throw some away.
To which I scoffed and said, or buy a second one, and maybe a third. But she just shook her head at that. So that was funny. But yeah, not a lot of hobby painting and building. Living in the middle of nowhere and not really having a local store-ish is tough when you're starting a project or wanting to get something in. You're always delayed by a week or two.
Yep.
By the time you order it, and they order it from GW, whoever you're going through, and then they ship it.
Yeah.
And then I've got shipment that comes in on Monday, though, so I'm excited for that. But more on that later.
Yeah, it's always a trial. And one thing we didn't mention in the intro or New Dawn is we're a month out from LVO. There's a creation generator for you. So yeah, time to get cracking if you're going to LVO. So that's February 8th, 9th, 10th?
Yeah, it is not long away at this point. And I've seen Frank working away, painting, trying to get those gloom spike gates ready for that. And that guy can paint quickly to a really cool standard. So
yes, he can.
His paint style is pretty cool. But if you're in the same boat as him, hopefully you can just listen to this and be painting away while you're working on it. So
yep. So are we done with creation?
I think we are. Yeah. We could jump into the realm of battle very quickly before we get into the realm of lore.
Okay.
Did you play any games?
The only thing that I played was a game of Blackstone Fortress and multiple games of AOS Champions. So, yeah, I'm still enamored with that Champions card game. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great way to while away a few minutes. It doesn't, take long, although it's like anything else. It's a collectible card game, so the more money you throw at it, the better you're going to be. So, ho-hum.
Or you can just play a lot of it on the app if you really want to.
And that's true. Yeah, the app is it has really grown since it first came out.
Definitely. I played one game since we last met, and that was against Matt, the local player here. I took Iron Jaws against 1,500 points versus Korn. And I lost again. So that's fun. No, I'm kidding. It was a lot of fun. We met up, we played 1,500 points, and his Bloodthirster is, let's just say, a movement 4 Megaboss. Doesn't really catch up with the Bloodthirster very quickly.
No, probably not.
But that Bloodthirster is now hasn't been killed in any of the games that we've played and has almost single-handedly won every game. So,
I hear a little revenge coming now.
I just like to think that I'm lulling him in a small sense of security, but yeah, that's probably not the case. So we'll see. Once we get the next army up and running to play against it, we'll see how he does against 90 Chaos Warriors.
Ooh.
He can't kill them all. He doesn't have enough attacks.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Nice.
But that was the battle. Not a lot going on, but once we get going with the campaign, I'm sure we'll have more in this section.
Yep.
To keep people appraised.
And I think we're going to pretty much kick that thing off right after LVO, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah. Allow us time to get some conversions, maybe the armies up and painted, because I don't think we want to touch this without painted models.
No.
So,
yeah. That's going to be kind of the idea, the basis for this is to have thematic boards, thematic armies, the whole 9 yards.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Cool. So that is the realm of creation and the realm of...
Yeah.
And let's move on to the realm of lore. Okay, now it's time for the realm of lore. In this section, what we're going to do is tell my dogs to shut the hell up. And then after that, we will talk about the realm of Shyish.
I know
my dogs may very well go to today. Yeah, the realm of Shyish. So the realm of death, the realm of Nagash, and any god really that you believe in, that looks after you when you die.
Exactly.
Although really they're all just Nagash. Really,
all is Nagash.
Nagash is all.
That's right.
Yeah, if I heard that one more time during the Realm Gate Wars audiobook series.
Oh my God. You know what? That was one thing about the Soul Wars book that actually became annoying after a while was he must have had a macro for that saying because it came out a lot. As far as delving into the lore of Shyish, it's absolutely everything that's come out in the last pretty much year for Sigmar has been based either in Shyish or has reached into it or come from it in some way, shape, or form. Hell, the whole Soul Wars started in Shyish. You know, it was Nagash running his little spell and turned it into the Necroquake. So
that's right, and it is a weird realm in which they have completely inverted it because of what Nagash has done. He sent out, during Malign Portents, right, we heard about him sending out thousands upon thousands, if not millions, of skeletons to go and pick up single grains of shade glass to bring back into the center for his big Necroquake.
Well, he was building the Black Pyramid with it. And that was to focus all the magical energies of the realm into one place.
Yeah, so, and what it seems to have done is done the opposite of every other realm. Mm-hmm. In which, you know, every other realm, the further you go out, the crazier it gets.
Yeah.
Not for Nagash. No. He
wasn't
wants
good
it
enough.
The other way around. The closer you get to the middle, or the inner lands, it starts to become more and more death-like. In fact, I think even Nagash can't stand in the middle of his own realm for too long because you just age and die. So I think that's a crazy thought that even Nagash can't live there.
Yeah.
So,
well, after the Necroquake, you know, after that whole thing went to hell and back, he's pretty much demolished the center of his own realm all by himself this time. He didn't let Archeon do it.
Unless it was those damn Skaven.
Well, it's always them. I think it was on Garage Hammer. I think Alex was the one that made the observation about how with Nagash, the ultimate planner and plotter and long look at things, he's always undone by the littlest, you know, the rats are always the ones screwing up his day. And I think it's just funny that, you know, here's this guy that planned something for 10,000 years and, you know, a couple of rats that wanted some cool rocks just came in and blew the whole thing up.
I do wonder if he just can't see it, you know, because he does seem to be the very much meticulous. He's almost a god of order, right? Yeah. It's very much... He doesn't want the chaos. He doesn't want the variables.
Right.
And I wonder if because normally it's the Skaven that have always messed with him, even in the world it was. Mm-hmm. I wonder if he just can't fathom how they work.
Right. He can't figure them out.
Yeah, and so they always are able to undo all his good work, I think.
Yeah, he's like the Spock of Age of Sigmar. He just can't figure out how these guys think.
Now I just imagine when Nagash was alive, he'd just look like Spock with like a bowl cut. Just
yeah, that horrible '60s haircut.
Oh, that's brilliant. So yeah, the Realm of the Death. It's in the big core rulebook as well, obviously, because it is. We got the core rulebook from Soul Wars, so they weren't not going to put the Realm of Death in there. Just on the first page, on page 97 of the core rulebook, there is one little thing that I noticed. It's just a tidbit. And it's Zar Vaxia, which is the infernal industry of twisted Dwarden siphons the raw energy of death from within the dark waters. That just, the picture looks like a demonic oil rig, to be honest. But I just thought that was super cool. What kind of dwarves are these? Yeah. Are they actually chaos dwarves, or are they just dwarves that have had to live in Shyish for so long? What we think is evil may just be day to day for them. So I also think it's living in Shyish, if you're a normal person, must be super depressing.
Oh, God, it's got to be.
Yeah.
It comes out pretty big in the Soul Wars book from Josh Reynolds, what life is like to live as a normal person in that realm, because all the realms have people that live there. You know, it's not just the realm of dead people anymore. It's a living realm. But yeah, to live somewhere like Glimsforge must be, it's got to be yuck. I wouldn't want to do it.
And in theory, it's all Sigmar's fault that it's like that.
Really?
Yeah, so in the Age of Myth, Sigmar comes out and, he's trying to find other gods to make his pantheon against evil, try and make alliances, shady deals. And he finds Nagash, or part of Nagash, just almost destroyed by the events that happened during the end times, the world that was. So just basically his shell buried under Realmstone. Obviously, Nagash was going to be drawn to Shyish. He was the avatar of death, and so they revive him. So without Sigmar, Nagash wouldn't be alive or undead.
Yeah.
Alive, dead? Yeah. So I think that's super cool. I think there's a lot of really cool little places dotted around in Shyish. And then there's New Lamia.
Oh, yeah.
Which, again, is part of the reason why Nagash sides with Sigmar, as if bringing him back to life wasn't enough. He helps defend it. So Nagash is like, oh, well, I guess you did help me here, so we'll work with you. Yeah, that's fine.
In typical Nagash fashion, though, he's talking out of two sides of his mouth there, because the whole time he's planning something else. So,
well, and that's the thing is, does Nagash know at this point that Sigmar's been the great betrayer at this point?
Yeah,
if you're looking at it from a death point of view, does he know that Sigmar's been siphoning off these souls at this point when he makes that deal? And he's like, "Yep, I'll just take that. We'll be on your side. That way you won't attack me until I can get a foothold and get back up."
Yeah.
So
I think it is kind of comical that at no point has any of the other god type figures recognized Nagash as the god of the dead. It seems to me like souls are the coin of the realm in the god space. It's what they deal with. It's what all of them use to do all their stuff. And for Nagash to think that all these souls are mine, so you guys, whoever takes them or whoever does anything with them is an affront to me. I think he's being a little egotistical there, I think. So
I think it's the theory that when you die, you got to pay the Reaper at some point. Do they belong to Nagash? And I think he's got a point, but if someone else is going to dedicate themselves to another god, then you probably have to realize, okay, well, maybe that god deserves a little bit of those souls.
It seems a little overreaching to me that he thinks they're all his. I mean, I'm not really siding with Sigmar here, but I kind of think that maybe you're getting a little hurt where you probably shouldn't be. But yeah, to sit there and label Sigmar the great betrayer, oh, dude, you need a wake-up call.
Yeah. Maybe it's also fun because people don't think that they're necessarily worshipping Nagash. They worship their god.
Yeah.
Just so happens Nagash has taken over and pretty much killed all those lesser gods, or
absorbed.
So we think.
Yeah.
Yeah. A bit like Marathi with her, support Kane. Kane is awesome. And by Kane, I mean me.
Yeah.
But I think that's a really good point. And actually, I think it was the Mortal Realms podcast. They were doing a review of one of the latest Shadespire books. And we'd be remiss to talk about Shyish without mentioning Shadespire.
That's right.
The physical city is still there, even if most of it, where people go these days, is locked in between a little micro realm of itself, right next to Slaanesh, just chilling.
Yeah.
But they were talking about it on there, how there's a statue that's sitting outside Shadespire, and people think, oh, it's Nagash watching the city. Nagash can always just put one part of his mind to focus on one thing.
Yeah.
He divides it up, and it keeps on, there's this voice that keeps on speaking to the person during the book, which says, I see you. And, they were talking about how it could just be Nagash. Nagash sees what's going on here.
Yeah.
But what if it's not? What if it's another god that's slowly getting, as people think they're worshipping Nagash or worshipping one of his many forms, they're actually worshipping someone else who's doing a Marathi and slowly siphoning off those souls. That'll be an interesting if they take it that way. Who knows?
Well, and they've dropped hints like that all through the core book, and then through Malign Portents and all that stuff, that Nagash knows that there's souls being bled out of his realm, and he hasn't really figured out. He kind of knows what Sigmar's doing. He kind of knows what the Idoneth are doing. But it almost indicates that there's something else also. So, yeah, we might be looking at something else here in the near future.
Yeah, and I think Gloomspite, the Gloomspite gets is almost a hint to that even further. That great trailer that we got where the Loon King's talking to the moon and trying to get his attention.
Yeah.
It's like, will you speak to me again? And there's just a yes.
Yeah.
And they all have these. It's a great trailer. Love it.
Oh, it is. So good.
Absolutely loved it. But I think the weirdest thing on it was, as I'm watching this, I'm like, did the goblins just create a god?
Yeah.
Like, we have Gorkamorka, right? And yeah, I know, again, it's similar, right? They all worship Gorkamorka in their own way.
Right.
But this Bad Moon seems to be its own thing. It's tied to Gorkamorka because there's the legend that Gorkamorka broke a party's tooth off, and that's what gave it life.
Yeah.
So either it's Gorkamorka that spoke to Loon King, and I might find out as I read the book that I'm about to read, or they have believed in this thing so much that it's created this, it's brought these bands, it's brought these different factions together who all worship it in slightly different ways, but they believe in it so much that it is now sentient, and it's now able to chat with them. Or is it a chaos god
duping everyone? Is it a Zinchian thing? Is it Slaanesh reaching out? Getting ready to burst forth? There's so many. They do such a good job of this, of throwing enough. I don't even want to say red herrings because they're just herrings out there to make you think 10 different things could be going on, when in reality they come out with number 11 all by themselves.
Oh, yeah. Try and guess what Games Workshop's going to do is, the only thing that I think is almost confirmed is Slaanesh and probably Dark Oath. Outside of that, I have no idea where Games Workshop's going to go next.
Yeah, and they could literally go anywhere.
Yeah. I also would love if they just don't realize it. They're writing these stories, leaving these little things, and they're like, okay, so this is the background, cool. And then they the community goes nuts and goes, well, what if this? What if that? What if this? And, someone like Josh Reynolds or, Jervis Johnson walks in on a Monday morning with like, hey, so the latest conspiracy theory is this. And, there's like 12 people in the room and they all just sit there and go, huh.
We could run with that, yeah.
Sure, yep. I'm sure it's I'd like to think that we're getting to the point, and it's fairly quick in my opinion, but to the point in the lore where we're starting to become, where they're starting to put these little mysteries in on purpose.
Oh, yeah.
They've got an idea of where it's going. So.
I think they love to leave these little strings so that they can pull them later, when they're getting very, very good at leaving those things out there and then pulling them. I mean, that seems to be what they've been doing lately. They're doing it in 40K. They certainly did it with just about everything in Age of Sigmar so far. So, but we should get back to Shyish. So
let's get back there. So notable locations in Shyish.
Oh my God, there's so many of them. You mentioned like New Lamia. There's of course Lyria that's always been around. That's where the city of Glimsforge is, which is the setting for the Soul Wars novel. There's Assassin's Rest. One thing we should probably mention also is that Shyish also happens to have tons and tons of these little pocket realms inside of it, so that no matter what you believe, whatever your afterlife means, it's created in Shyish so that you have somewhere to go when you die, your soul does. And if there's enough of you, it's an actual living, breathing place. Whereas if it's just like a small clan that believes in a certain kind of afterlife, that pocket realm will exist as long as those souls are there. And then when Nagash needs those souls for something, or one of the gods needs the souls for something, that realm might just vanish out of existence if they take them all out. The narrative possibilities and it's endless what you can do in Shyish. There's absolutely no limit to what you can come up with for pocket realms within Shyish.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I do like the idea that the pocket realm of where your god or where you believe your afterlife is only exists as long as people believe in it.
Right.
So when that last person dies, I almost feel bad for that last person.
Yeah, they don't ever get to go.
They're like, oh, I totally believe in this. And then there's no one else to believe in it. So you just end up as a mindless spirit.
Yeah.
In the gash.
One of the mindless skeletons.
Yeah. You've got, I'm going to butcher this, Nagash's stronghold, Nagahazar.
Nagashazar, yeah.
Which Archeon went into and slapped Nagash upside the face a couple of times.
Oh, yeah.
And then they went down to Stigitz, which I think is absolutely fantastic. Just a lost underworld in which Nagash and the Mortarks fled to when Archeon beat the crap out of them.
Yeah.
Just again, it just pushes to
a little hidey hole.
Archeon's more powerful than we think because you just go around slapping gods upside the face.
I'm not sure that slapping down Nagash is such a big thing, since it seems like everybody with a sword in the mortal realms can do it. So, I mean, it's
good point.
Yeah, he's kind of a pincushion. So everybody's beat him up.
You've got the Carrion lands, which we might see a little bit more in the future, because we didn't actually touch on that in the news section either.
Right,
where we had the open day and we had a new box set coming out.
Yes, we didn't cover that at all.
No, we didn't, because I completely forgot all about it, because I was like, insert thing here, but I think it's called the Carrion King or something like that.
Yeah.
It's got Carrion in the title.
Yes.
So we might get to see a little bit more of that land, because the Carrion King does run with that. And Skaven are still in Shyish, because they're they're going after the Flesh Eater Courts for a little fight. Fisticuffs, I would think.
You're going to have a little dust up.
So it's actually called the Carrion Empire.
Yeah.
So that box set looks pretty cool. Yeah, there's a lot of cool places. You've got the Realm Gates. You've got
tons of them.
Some of the biggest ones are the End Gate, which is controlled by the Forces of Chaos.
Oh, yeah.
As always.
You got to remember the Arch of Bones, too. The big one between Azir and Shyish.
Yeah, you've got that one as well.
That one's a scary gate, because when you think about it, does Sigmar really want an open hole to the underworld in his realm?
No, you really don't.
No.
Um, you can't have that, and that's what's crazy about the realm gate system. It's some of them are one way, but if you're going to make an alliance, you have to go back and forth.
Yeah.
It does pose that problem, and Sigmar was able to I'm pretty sure use that to come in and invade the realm with revenge.
Oh yeah.
After the all points.
Yep.
Where he just goes nuts and starts destroying all the servants in Nagash before he's like, oh, okay, I need to get back to Azir and knock off all these. And that's actually, what weakens Nagash a little bit so that Archeon can come in and start fighting him. So
slap him down again.
Yeah. But I do love that Nagash is, since we're talking about Shyish, we may as well talk about Nagash in a little bit. But he's coming in there and he's trying to remake the old stuff that he had in the world that was. And so he's probably the strongest tie to the world that was, other than actual malice that we have. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, there's some cool things. There was a cool god beast mentioned in, spoiler alert, in Realm Slayer that was there as well, in which there was a realm gate in its stomach.
Yeah, go figure.
Which was kind of cool. I don't know. It made a cool scene to happen. So read the book or listen to the book, and you'll get to see that. But
it sure did. That whole Realm Slayer was one whack of a good book. So
yeah. So Shyish, I think after the Necroquake it changes, right?
Yes.
The Necroquake happens, and the magic of Shyish starts to seep.
Yes.
Starts to bleed into the other realms, which is hard to get my mind around, in all honesty.
I hear you.
Mainly because we've started to see maps and roughly how the realms all interact. They're not layered upon each other like these pocket realms that we've got in Shyish, but just the magic just booms out, causes a bunch of problems all over the place. Wakes up the land, right? And gets these endless spells and malign sorcery to show up and do a bunch of damage.
Yeah, pretty much turned magic on its ear and opened us all up for endless spells. Mechanically speaking, it's what powers up those endless spells, makes them predatory, almost gives them a mind of their own, and all the attendant, both fiction and game effects that you can have from something like that, which I think they've really capitalized on and done a fantastic job with. Agreed.
So Shyish, I was just going to say, I think everybody sees it at some point, whether you want to or not. Even the Stormcast have to go down there a lot of the time to either go and hunt Nagash or try and parlay with him. And then you've got the Nighthaunt there. But I think everybody that dies, who's not got a strong affiliation with one of the walking among us gods, so to speak, I think he'll see it, which must make it the biggest realm, right? In my opinion,
I would think, since it has to have space for everyone from every other realm, it's got to be pretty much big.
Yeah.
I don't want to say 8 times the size of the other realms, but it still has to be pretty damn large.
Yeah.
Then again, we might be talking about, this is at the metaphysical scale, so it might mean nothing. So,
well, there's large areas of the other realms probably don't have life in them. So
yeah.
I also now just imagine like insects and things like that.
Ooh.
When they die, their souls go to Nagash. I wonder if he fights over the insect king over theirs. It's like,
I'm the butterfly king. You can't have my souls.
Like, I'm Nagash. All the souls come. Do your insects have souls? Yes. Okay. Well, they're mine. Just say it. I think it's anyway. So that's a little bit on the background.
Well, one thing I wanted to hit before we left the background type was if you want to get a good feel for Shyish and all the attendant things, you can still go to the Malign Portents website and you can still grab all of the books that they put out during the Malign Portents rollout, if you will. There's like 50 short stories there, all of which center around, a portion of the lead up to the Soul Wars. So if you're real interested in Shyish and you want to get a feel for what it would be like to be there, run and grab those short stories. I mean, they're absolutely free. So it's a good deal. And some of those stories are really, really good. That's just an avenue for you to look at if you want to delve into how Shyish really works.
Yeah, I would agree. I think also if you want to see after Malign Portents, I think Soul Wars is a great book to really see and get a sense of the realm as well.
Between those two books that Josh Reynolds did, The Soul Wars, which was, for the release of AOS 2.0, but also Nagash, Undying King, you'll get your fill of all is Nagash. Nagash is all. It really does give you the mindset of the Mortarks. And another thing that we probably need to hit is the way the Mortarks work in Shyish. You have, of course, Nagash sitting on top of everything. But then you have Arcan, you have Neferata, and you have Manfred as the big Mortarks, who are, they're big names from the old world. Everybody remembers them. And they control large hunks of the armies of Shyish. The way they plot and plan either for or against each other and for and against Nagash is what keeps the realm super interesting. So no matter what form of death you like, you're going to find a Mortark, and there's more Mortarks now. I think Lady Olinda became a Mortark, didn't she?
That's right. I think in Soul Wars, and this is where it gets weird because they're all extensions of Nagash's will, the Mortarks, but they're able to almost deceive and plot against Nagash if they want to. We all know that Manfred probably wants to because he's Manfred.
Because he's an idiot.
And they all do their own thing, but because they don't show up to his great summoning, he names a couple of more.
Mm-hmm.
So, which is super cool.
Yeah, and that's how Lady Olinda gets her claim to fame, and they have delved into the politics of Shyish. Like I said, it's the best developed realm out there to this point in the game. If you want to see kind of where they're going to go and how they're going to develop these things, look at how they did Shyish, and you'll hopefully in the next few years we'll start to see this for different realms as they decide to flesh out different areas. And I mean, it's just crazy. Like we said at the top, we couldn't even begin to scratch the lore of Shyish without spending 3-4 hours telling you the whole backstory. But I mean, that's been done and it's all out there for you to consume. So there's really no need for us to pull these different resources together. You can just look at the Soul Wars books and all the attendant stuff that's come out since then and get a good feel for Shyish.
Yeah, and you've also got the Legion of Nagash book and
the Night Haunt,
the Night Haunt book.
Yep.
Yeah.
Flesh Eater
which will also give you a little bit more.
Yep.
And I think Flesh Eater Curse is an older book, which has less on Shyish as a whole. But I think that might change when we get this new Carrion Empire.
This Carrion Empire thing is going to fit in.
And maybe we'll see a little bit more of it in the story. Because after all, this is the Soul Wars. Nagash is a big player. Shyish is a realm with most of the souls. I don't think we're quite done with the Soul Wars story arc.
Not even a little, I don't think.
Sigmar's been sending his Stormcast into Shadespire, which is technically part of Shyish, to fix the reforging process. So I wonder if he'll be successful or whether or not we'll see more of that as well.
Yeah. So now let's kind of move on to the mechanics of the realm of Shyish and all the stuff that's going to affect the games that we play either in or around it. So from the core rulebook, the Realms of Shyish, there is a spell that your casters are going to know if you come from Shyish, and it is the Pall of Doom. Has a casting value of 6. If successfully cast, pick an enemy unit within 18 inches of the caster that's visible. Subtract 2 from their bravery until your next hero phase. That's pretty nasty, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, especially for death armies.
Yeah.
Because it's actually changing the characteristic. It's not just -2 bravery. It's subtracting 2 from the bravery characteristic. So things like Terrorgeist, Banshee, Screams.
Yeah.
Things that attack the characteristic
that
can
has
have a bit bigger effect.
So that's quite a tasty little spell to have. And again, that's any caster in any battle fought in that realm, every caster can have that spell. You want to cover the realm command ability?
Yeah, so we have two command abilities. We have Honor of the Dead. So you can use this command ability at the start of any combat phase. If you do so, pick a friendly unit that is within 3 inches of a friendly hero or 12 of the general, and you roll a dice. If the dice roll is less than the number of mortals that have been slain from the unit you picked, you can add 1 to the attacks characteristic of weapons used by that unit in the combat phase.
Now, that's a pretty nifty little command ability.
Yeah, definitely if it works, early on, right?
Right. So you're just basically trying to roll under the number of dead models. It's quite an interesting mechanic when you look at the death units with their ability to be reinforced and resummoned. So you can make some pretty nasty, even chain rasps, even horde units can become pretty nasty when they have multiple attacks coming from this.
Yeah, and it seems to favor the big horde units, right?
Right.
Because as soon as you get over 6, boom, you're automatically getting it. Mm-hmm. So that's super cool. The second one is Soul Force Sacrifice. So you can use this command ability at the start of your hero phase. If you do so, you pick a friendly unit that's within 3 inches of your general, allocate any number of wounds to that unit, and you can heal 1 wound that has been allocated to your general for each wound that you allocate.
So basically a life leech. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But it is friendly, not friendly and enemy. On some things, that's nuts.
It is.
Yeah.
When you look at, let's say Nagash is taking quite a few wounds. That's what the, what's his name? Morghasts are for. They're going to hang out near him anyway because they want to get his buff. And when he needs to eat one, he just eats one. And he goes back up to full. Oh boy.
Yeah, and you can allocate, so you're allocating wounds. So some things have a save.
Right.
And they get allocated a win. So you're like, okay, I allocate 50 wins to this model, but it's an extreme example, but say 10. Sure. 10 wins to this unit that has a 4+ save against wounds.
And it does say wounds, not mortal wounds.
Correct. So they're not mortal wounds. They're just wounds. Yeah. So you can save them. It's not damage though, so you don't get your armor save,
right,
or your actual save against it. But anything where it says like auric shields and things like that.
But you're going to get your normal death save anyway. So since that's a standard part of death, so it's a pretty neat way to recharge your general. And again, it doesn't have to be Nagash; it can be any general. So it's something you need to keep in the back of your mind that this is a command ability that just comes from doing battles in Shyish. So obviously, if you're playing a death army, you really want to have the realm be Shyish.
Yeah, and so then we can move on to the Realmscape features. Mm-hmm. We've got 6, like everybody else. The first one is just like everybody else, has no effect.
That's right.
It's just bone and dust. Barren Moorland, it's called. It's going to go. But we then do have, if you roll a 2, or choose the 2, it's life leeching. So at the start of your hero phase, roll a dice on a 6+, pick an enemy unit, suffers D3 mortal wounds.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty.
Yeah, fairly situational. Mm-hmm. I mean, but it's just a little thing that might chip away. I could see people being disappointed with that if they've got something hidden at the back of the board away from everything, and then you're like, haha, take your last win.
Exactly. Yeah, the hidden units and the hidden spellcasters and what have you they're going to fall prey to this. But keep in mind, this is a Realmscape feature, so it affects both sides. So
Exactly.
So number 3 is the Winds of Death. At the start of your hero phase, roll a die. On a 6+, pick an enemy unit, then roll a die for each model in it. For each 5 up, that unit suffers 1 mortal wound. Here's a horde killer.
It sounds a lot like the Mushroom is now in the Gloomspite, and also the dreaded Gaunt Summoner.
Yeah.
When he had his thing. So, I mean, it's a 6+ again. I mean, it's going to happen once in every couple of games.
Yeah.
Or once per game, someone will get it.
Probably, odds are someone will get it once during the game. And it could turn the game. So,
oh, it totally could. But, again, it's not just that they're slain or anything like that. They still get it. If they got a mortal wound save, they get that.
That's right.
Number 4 is a Haunted Realm. So, terrain features have the Sinister scenery roll. In addition to any other role they have, that means that you are -1 bravery when you're fighting. within 3 inches of it, 1 inch.
1 inch,
I think.
now.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it just makes everything a little more sinister.
Spooky.
So number
Definitely.
5 is Eternal War. And this is kind of the reverse of everything else you see. This one just says you add 1 to the bravery characteristic of all units across the board. Everybody has +1 bravery for the whole game.
Yeah, simple. Probably wouldn't change too much in the game, but it means that everybody's sticking around a little bit more.
Well, it's going to be a big help for, armies like, I want to say Iron Jaws, maybe even Stormcast, that sometimes they're going to take bravery hits along the way. And a lot of these attacks in this realm are going to be based on bravery. So having that bonus, it's going to help mitigate a little bit of it.
Definitely. And then, you could have that Paula Doom. It mitigates that a little bit.
Yeah.
For sure. And again, it changes the characteristic. It's not just +1 bravery. So it actually is a negative, the death armies that are playing in death.
Yeah.
Which is good. I don't think every realm should be suited to the Grand Alliance that's going to fight for it. And then the last one is the Aetherquake Aftershock. I do wonder if they'll change that to the Necroquake Aftershock.
Yeah, I kind of wondered about that.
But it is very simple. +1 to casting rolls. It's massive. It really is. I think the 6s are always pretty interesting in these Realmscape features, but +1 to cast, it's just fantastic.
Yeah, across the board for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, it just means more spells are going off.
Yeah, and, for a guy like Nagash, oh boy, that's great. But, for some of these other casters, it's a big deal.
Yeah, and it's not +1 to cast and dispel, or unbind. So it just means more fun stuff will happen.
That's right.
Or more frustrating stuff, depending if you think it's magic or not.
Depending on what side you're on, yeah.
And that actually segues pretty well into the spells of Shaiish. But before we go there, what's your favorite Realmscape? Which one do you like the best?
I don't know. It's going to be kind of weird, but I'm vacillating between the number 2 and the number 3. I like the Life Leech, and I like the Winds of Death. They have that little sneak to them. I mean, yeah, you have to roll a 6. Obviously, 5 and 6 are automatic, but they affect both sides equally. So like you say, they're kind of a wash. I kind of like that one, like that Winds of Death. You get, a horde of 30 or 40, insert battle line here, and you can really decimate a unit, especially Winds of Death for each 5 up. 2/3 of the unit, or 1/3 of the unit could vaporize.
It's even strong. Mixing it, right? So you did at the start, so you know that's happened.
Yeah.
Right? So you have your Winds of Death, even against a Stormcast unit, say Sequitors.
Oh, yeah.
20 of them.
Yep.
4 of them die from this. Let's just say, averages or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you cast Polydum on them. so that
their battle shock roll is.
Yeah.
Ooh. Wow.
It could be nuts. I like that one as well. I just also like the Haunted Realm just because it makes everything spooky.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's not going to have that big an effect, but again, it's just something that's a little bit fun.
Yeah.
So,
and that's it, is they all add flavor to it. So that's what I think is the most fun.
Exactly.
All
exactly.
Right.
So if you are playing with the Malign Sorcery as well from these, you do have 6 spells of Shaiish.
Yes, you do.
Coming in. What is your favorite? Well, let's start with what's your least favorite spell from the list? I have to read them all. So
I think I've already done that. I think my least favorite, it's the very first one, Word of Ending. Word of Ending, basically, it says it has a casting value of 6. If successfully cast, pick an enemy hero within 12 inches of the caster that's visible and roll a die. If the result is more than the number of wounds allocated to that model, it suffers D3 more mortal wounds. The only problem is I don't like it because it's one of those deals where if you do this and if you do that and if you do that, it's too situational for me.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, especially when you think about it, right? You're like, okay, most things, if you're going to try and kill it, right? Say it's a hero.
Yeah.
So, well, it has to be a hero.
It has to be a hero,
wounds.
yeah.
It's got 5 wounds. If you're hoping to kill it with this, they'll have had to have taken 2.
Yeah.
A third of the time, it's not going to work. when you could really just do at least one mortal wound just by doing Arcane Bolt.
Right.
So I think my least favorite is probably number 2, which is the Knight's Touch. If successfully cast, pick a friendly unit with 6 inches of the caster that's visible to them. Ignore modifiers, positive and negative, when making save rolls for that unit until your next hero phase.
Yeah, I don't like that just because I play Death Armies, and I already have that.
Nighthawk don't care, but I also don't like that mechanic of just ignoring the modifiers. And also a casting value of 8 is pretty high.
Yeah, it is. And it's really just, it's the death ethereal ability, but you can apply it to somebody else. So
Exactly.
Now, if you want to get to my favorite one.
Sure, let's get your favorite one, Bill.
My favorite one is Soul Shroud, because it has a low casting value of 6. And if you successfully cast it, pick a friendly unit within 12 inches of the caster that is visible to them. That unit is not affected by other spells until your next hero phase. So you can make someone immune to Hand of Dust, Foot of Gork, all those other oh my god spells. So I like that one a lot.
It is great that there's a spell in the lore of death that helps you be immune to Nagash.
Well,
I do like that.
It is. It's almost like a must. If you're going to have something like Nagash, you got to throw a bone out there. So what's your favorite?
Well, I kind of like Soul Shroud. But
I'm glad I went first.
Soul Flay is also pretty good.
Yes, it is.
Cast value is 7, so average. If successfully cast, pick an enemy hero within 12 inches of the caster that is visible to them. That unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. In addition, if the unit suffers 3 mortal wounds from the spell, subtract 2 from its bravery characteristic until your next hero phase. Having actually read it out loud,
it's a double whammy.
I realize it is a double whammy. That combined with the signature spell, you could be at -4 bravery for, and I'm thinking from a death army here,
right?
Where you put your screams, things that are hitting on the characteristic. It could be good. It would be better if it wasn't just an enemy hero, because obviously then you could do more and more damage.
I think if it was
battle shock test.
Yeah, so. I think if they made it to where it was a unit, you would see something like, a sequitur unit with a 0 bravery, so anything you roll goes away. I think that might have been too powerful if they extended it to units. I think it had to stay hero.
Yeah. And I mean, and I like Ethereal Guide just because its custom value is 6 and it's +1 to hit.
That was Ethereal Guide, right? You cut out for a second there.
Yeah, Ethereal Guide. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's, add 1 to hit rolls for attacks made by the caster until your next phase. I always just think of how do I get Archeon to hit more.
There's an opportunity right there.
Yeah. Okay, so that is the spells. So now let's take a look at the artifacts. As always, we've got 2 lists of 6, and I'll go with my favorite or my least favorite first.
Least favorite, okay.
From the weapons. And I think it really does just have to be the Wraith Bow.
Damn it.
Yeah. In your shooting phase, pick an enemy unit within 18 inches of the bear, roll 6 dice for each 6+. The enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound. Again, you're taking a valuable artifact slot to give something where you have to roll another die.
Yeah.
And to get the effect.
Yeah.
And I just think that that's not the best use of an artifact.
Yeah, and it's roll 6 dice and for 6, so you're pretty much looking at 1 mortal wound out of that artifact. I mean, on a straight up average, you're gonna get 1 mortal wound out of that thing.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not a missile weapon, so you could move and run,
right,
and then do it. So it gives you a bit more range, and you might just need to do that 1 wound, but very dicey. The amount of times that you roll 6 dice and don't get a 6, every turn you'd be like, wish I took a different thing from this list. What was yours?
Well, that was my least favorite also. The number 1, the Blade of Endings, is another one of those that's not great, because basically you need hit rolls of 6+, and then you add 2 to the damage. So it's not bad, but it's another one of those where I don't roll hot 6s. I'm usually looking for something to increase my ability.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, the weapons of Shyish are not the strength in the artifacts, I don't think.
Not even a little, no.
There's things in other realms that are better.
Way better, yeah.
Way better.
Although,
I suppose my favorite would maybe be Life Bane, because you get +1 to wound with the weapon.
See, now, my favorite, just because of the craziness of it, is the Splinter Tooth. And it's a shooting attack. You pick an enemy unit within 8 inches, roll 3 dice. If 2 of them are the same, then the enemy suffers D3 mortal wounds. If all 3 are the same, Yahtzee, then they get D6 mortal wounds. So it's one of those ones that I would probably take just because of the craziness. If I had to take something off this list, that's probably what I would grab. Even though it's not a great choice. I can
see that.
You know.
I can see that because whilst it happens in the shooting phase, it's not a shooting attack.
Yeah.
So, someone thinks, oh, I'm safe. You're in combat.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a shooting phase thing. And then you're like, boom, takes D6 more wins.
Yeah. And usually I hate those ones where you have to roll this and then roll that and then get this. But that one it seems to me to be kind of narratively fun to try. So, but I think if I had to pick one from this list, I think I'd be right there with you, the Life Bane, because it does add 1 to wounds. And since I'm so bad at rolling, I would probably that would be my go-to.
Yeah, and if we had to take one off the list, because as we'll find out in our next realm episode, there's one from Gairan that is even better.
Yeah, just a little.
The realm of life is better than the realm of death.
Who knew?
Weapons, at least. So moving into the relics.
Relics of Shyish.
What is your least favorite on this one?
Absolute least favorite is the number 2, the Ethereal Amulet, which is ignore modifiers, positive or negative, when making save rolls for this model. I say that just because I'm playing a Night Haunt army, which doesn't care anyway. So that would be my least favorite.
I can't wait until we narratively roll on the on the artifact table, and you get that for your Night Haunt general.
Oh, I will. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I think mines would actually have to be the number 1. You can add or subtract 1, the Realmscape table. So that requires you're taking an artifact, hoping that you're playing in Shyish.
Yeah.
Which, narratively, great, right? I think when we're looking at these artifacts and we're looking at the spells and things like that, we're looking at more match play than narrative or open play. So yes, in a narrative setting, that could be great, right? The person transports them to or calls forth something in the realm.
Right.
Great. But from a match play point of view, what's the point?
Yeah, exactly. It just, you're not going to run across a use for that. So, ho-hum.
Yeah. And what's your favorite then? So
it might be a little weird, but I like the Goblet of Draining, the number 6. If 1 or more wounds are inflicted on an enemy hero by the bearer, roll a die. On a 5-up, that hero gets D3 more mortal wounds. That's your finishing. To me, that would be a good finishing move, instead of leaving Archeon on that 1 or 2 wounds. Let me just finish him off with this. So,
and I do wonder if they've FQ'd this one. The only reason that I'm saying that is because you could cast a spell in your hero phase, do a wound, roll a 5+, do D3 mortal wounds. Then you could be in your shooting phase.
Oh, yeah.
Do a shooting attack and do a wound. Oh, okay. Well, now on a 5+, you take D3 more wins.
Good point.
Okay. Now we're in the charge phase.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I do something in the charge phase.
Yeah, I roll my 10 up and yeah.
Yeah, it could potentially be super crazy. My one would have to be your worst one, which is the amulet. If you had to choose one from this list, that's the standout choice for most armies.
Sure.
Being able to ignore that. Yeah, because it makes you become Night Haunt and you get a save better than a 4+.
Right.
So, or you could have a better save than a 4+.
Yeah, and it's true. If you're not playing Night Haunt, that is a very good thing to have. So I'm thinking if I was playing my Seraphon or something else, I would want to go with that.
Yeah, definitely. And I think so looking at that one also, it's kind of thematic. if you're playing in the Realm of Death or your armies from the Realm of Death, they may have found a way to become that etherealness.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that then became an allegiance ability pretty much for the Night Haunt.
Right.
Because they maybe just hung out in beside that amulet too long. Yeah. Cool. So that is Shyish.
Yeah. That's kind of Shyish.
So we only have, we have one more official realm that in here. So we have the Realm of Life.
Yeah.
Garan, where the Sylvaneth come from.
Yeah. And I mean, this is another pretty well-developed realm in the very beginning. In the very beginning of Age of Sigmar, this one was written about and talked about quite a bit. So there's a lot to fall back on there, and there's a lot of cool stories in that realm. I think I actually based my my little part of the Mortal Realms in that one. So
nice. I'll look forward to hearing about your little pocket realm in Garan. There's also just as you say, a lot of the Realm Wars stuff happened there.
Yep.
You've got the birth of Ilariel showing up, or the rebirth of Ilariel.
Yeah, the gestation.
So that's Shyish. Got a little bit more in the lower section.
Yes, we do.
Take a gander. So we did have a listener question that came in.
Yes, we did.
Do you want to go over what the question was, or would you like me to?
Why don't you go ahead and do it? Do you have it up? Do you have it pulled up?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I don't have it right in front of me right now.
Yeah, so this question came in from
Hayden Ford.
Yep, Hayden Ford. He sent us a quick question, and his question was, what's your thoughts on Games Workshop updating War Scrolls on the fly? He says that he knows that we get book X in a couple of years with new spells, stat changes, etc. But what do we think about them updating War Scrolls? His example was that within Seraphon, in his opinion, Saurus Guard, Saurus Knights seem to be nearly useless.
Yeah.
In most games, unless they're specifically built around them, and even then it only brings them to mediocre.
Yeah.
So what did we think the ups and downs were of Games Workshop doing this?
Well, I hate to do it, and I hate to be the negative Nancy right off the top, but the con that I can see first off to doing something like that is, and you kind of got a feeling from this from listening to the first couple of issues or episodes of the new Stormcast and how they approach correcting things in the game. And one of the things that they really want to avoid nowadays is doing something in a vacuum and not seeing how it might affect all the stuff around it. I can see where they would not want to do these War Scroll corrections and updates on the fly and just, put out a new version in the Warhammer app and, let you play with the new set before an organized, a more comprehensive set of fixes came out or fact came out, because you could potentially break something else in the game that you never meant to. And we've seen this before with combinations like, 2 years ago, did anybody see Flamespire Phoenixes being, the do-all end-all and the thing that makes mixed order armies really crazy?
No,
not really.
We still don't, because it's the Frost one. But
okay, yes. Oh, you got me good.
But at the same time, no, people didn't. And I think I tend to agree. We've seen a couple of FAQs and a couple of, or at least one General's Handbook change to a War Scroll. Yeah. And that War Scroll change was for Thunderers, which if you speak to a lot of KO players, Courage and Overlord players, they will say that was the first nerf or change to a long list of changes that happened in that book, or to that book. And so I think we see in FAQs or erratas, should I say, not designer commentary, we see changes to War Scrolls all the time. Yeah. That was the only one where it changed. They printed the whole scroll. Yeah. Which was a little weird because there was really only one or two little things that changed. But I guess it was pretty close to the book being released as well. Yeah, it was. Which was weird. But they became, looking back on it, and listening to that Stormcast episode with, was it Sean?
It was with Jervis.
Well, there was the second one. I don't know if you listened to that one.
Yeah, I did.
With Jarvis's right-hand man.
Yeah.
Who was talking about a similar thing, where they're tightening up the conversation.
Right.
They're tightening up the way it works and the way the wording works.
They have an actual document that says, if you need an effect that does this, this is the words to use.
We look at the update. I know this is with the release, but we look at the update scrolls for Moon Clan stuff that's in there.
Right.
Or the Ragnarok. It outlines what amount is if there's something around you.
Yes.
It outlines how many banners something can take.
Mm-hmm.
It outlines, that there is only one champion, or so on and so forth. So
right.
I think we see minor changes. I think you're right. We don't want to be making changes within a vacuum. And yes, if your army has some less than optimal choices in it, you might think, oh crap, I've got to wait. Got to wait until they do a book.
Yeah.
But as they were saying on the Stormcast episode, where they were talking about designing the Beasts of Chaos book, they look for different ways for the army to work now. So when they're writing an artifact list, when they're doing a spell list, they're looking at allegiance abilities and battalions and stuff like that, they're looking for what are the 6 ways, for example, that this army can play. I think, personally, I would rather wait until they could look at my force and go, what are the different ways we want this army to play? So then if there is a Saurus build, for example, in Seraphon, they've put a bit of thought into it. Maybe you don't need a slan.
Yeah.
That would be nice to see. I think I would much rather they wait. I think a bigger concern for me would be rules. We already have so many different books, so many different sources of rule. If you're a brand new player who's went and bought the Seraphon book and you have your war scrolls in there, and you may even have the FAQs, but then you show up to play and someone goes, well, actually, in this one book back in 2017, they changed the war scroll.
Right.
It'll be in the app. But, I think we take the app and the internet for granted. Maybe I'm naive in saying this, but the young kid that's getting into the game might not have an iPad or an iPhone or a way to pull up that information. And I think it is a little bit naive of me, but at the same time, if you want younger players getting into the game and things like that, they might not have that resource.
Yeah.
And so they show up with their game and they're like, hey, I want to play this. And then someone turns around to them and goes, well, actually, here's what the war scroll is. Because we're also assuming that when they update the war scroll, they make it better.
Right.
They could also just make it worse.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we've talked about that before, is if you have a guy who's brand new to the game and decides he likes Caradron Overlords and goes and buys the book, when he shows up to his first game, he's going to get quite a surprise when you look at him and go, no, it's not, that book doesn't really matter anymore. Here's all your new war scrolls and your army plays completely differently now.
Here's a 4-page document where FAQ is literally every single or Raz 90% of your book. Well done.
Now, to go around and to directly address Hayden's question, or what he put in his question was like, the Seraphon units themselves, they're like a host of other units throughout, interspersed throughout different factions in the game that are really, I mean, they're basically useless. They don't even do the basic battle line job that well. I would like to see them in a situation like that where you have a unit that just consistently underperforms, giving it a slight, a buff here or there, or, make it hit one easier, or don't give it some new ability that might break the game, but maybe just tweak the numbers a little bit to make it more usable. I would love to see them doing that. Those kind of simple changes, maybe add 1 to their number of attacks, or maybe drop their hit by 1. Something to make them a little more attractive in the game without having any far-reaching effects, So I don't want to see them get a new ability that they can have the same ability as a chameleon skink now. They can just disappear off one section of the board and reappear 3 inches away from an enemy unit. No, that would be game breaking. That would totally change every facet of every game, if it turned out to be that game breaking. But, if they were going to do something like just, hey, instead of hitting on 4s and 4s, now they hit on 3s and 3s. They just went to an in-depth training course and learned how to fight a little better. And since these are all dreams anyway, I'm just dreaming up better ones. That's all. In that respect, I think they could probably get away with making very simple changes on the fly to basic numbers without really tilting the game. But, you throw it back to like what they did to the Caradron, where they literally changed how a unit worked from its basic inception to what it turned out to be after that new War Scroll, which was completely different.
Yeah. I think, I don't know. I'm not sure I like the idea of adding +1 a hit or things like that. I think the problem that Games Workshop's in with that is we're on a 1 through 6 scale.
Yeah.
So it might not always look like it's the best unit, and also making everything the same. If everything hits on 3s and wins on 3s,
yeah,
then it's really just your choice of model that is causing an issue,
right?
On there. But I think if you go to, I think points is a very big thing, and they can tweak it more so than points. I think if they changed just one thing within match play, because we're really talking in match play, because if you think that in open play, something's really broken, you can change it.
Yeah.
If you really think that there's something wrong with Saurus Guards, you can just take more than your opponent. But that really comes down to points, and maybe not so much a change of points, but if we take Saurus Guard, for example, they're 5 for 100 points.
Yeah.
If you change that and suddenly you got 10 for 100 points, it's then changing the value of that unit and changing. But then you've got to take into consideration with the rest of the things. You do that, and suddenly you don't see any Saurus warriors.
Right, and you see a lot more builds built around the different heroes that buff up the guard. So, it's like we said at the beginning with the cons, it's so hard to see what's going to happen down the line when you make a change, even a simple change, how it's going to affect, I hate to say the word, but the meta. How is it going to affect the overall game?
Yeah, I'm glad I'm not a games designer.
No.
Because the amount of variables in this game is nuts. I mean, and people all the time compare one unit to another unit from another army, but you've not only got to think of that, you've got to think of every unit within your army. What does it do?
Yeah.
How do they compare in points? And Seraphon have a weird thing where they've got this really great battle line unit that doesn't really fight, doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
But takes up a lot of board space.
Yes.
And is super cheap.
Yes.
For the bodies on the board. And so anything else is going to pale.
Yeah.
In comparison.
And that does factor into what the rest of the army is costed at. So,
I think if the Seraphon book was written now, since that's what we're focusing on in this question is, I think if it was made now, it would have viable ways to play with Saurus and with Skinks. And there'd be a way to make them fully viable in a certain play style.
Sure.
And if that's how you wanted to play, you'd be able to play them. Now, I'm not going to say that would be the most optimal way to play it, but it would definitely be a valid play style that you could play. Every army book's going to have, or Battle Tome is going to have its optimal build.
Right.
And you just have to accept that. And you have to accept, do you want to play that and play the optimal build?
Yep.
Or do you want to play with something that's not so great? But as long as it's mediocre, and you enjoy playing with it, bash on.
Yeah.
And
as
really,
long as
you're not getting stomped every time.
Yeah, and I mean, you can look at the different numbers, and I mean, Seraphon are not exactly blazing a new trail through the tournament scene. When you look at a lot of the different results from a lot of these different events and stuff, they're not doing terrible. Players are taking them and having respectable results. I mean, they're not hitting top tables, they're not winning events, but they're playable now. Where when I'm pretty much well known for saying that they were literally unplayable for a while there because they had nothing that could stand up to anything. Now with the summoning mechanic and some changes to the way the game itself plays, they're reasonable, and I would rather see them relook at the book as a whole than to try to apply a Band-Aid here and a Band-Aid here and a quick fix here and a quick fix there. I'd rather see it reimagined, with the AOS 2.0 mentality that they have now.
Definitely. And I think, gone is you're going to have to wait years if something is truly broken. If something just doesn't work, I don't think you're going to have to wait what you used to have to wait 5 to 8.
Yeah.
I do think that if there's changes that have to be made, that truly have to be made, and I think they're in the strike, I don't think there's much that needs really tweaking with the system that they've got, other than it's starting to get a bit complex from where it was when it first came out. If they go back, they update the books that aren't quite up to that standard, and then move forward at this standard, then I think people will be happy, and it'll be an easy enough update. And it could even be just things like the Carrion Empire that's coming out.
Yeah.
For example, it could come out and it could have a particular battalion that you can take that includes the things from the box that increases the effectiveness of one of the units in there. And so then maybe that's the way that they could look at it, is rather than changing the actual scroll, is introducing battalions that contain these perceived lesser units, but give them a buff.
Right.
And add a point cost onto it, because obviously some things need a point cost, at least 50 points, because that's how much the artifact's worth. Even if it's only 60 points, and it gives all Saurus Guard X ability, or the ability to do something that would just peak them over the edge.
Yeah.
From where they are at the moment. That could be the thing. And I think if we start to see campaign books, like the Vigilus book, where they've got pretty much little mini battalions in them, or the 40k equivalent, and you get a little thematic rule here, and whatever that thematic rule is, it could give a boost or a nerf. I mean, I don't think it would but it would give a thematic rule for those models, so you can use them during this campaign, but also continue to use it afterwards.
Right.
Which gives you that valid playstyle.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'd rather see a top-down. It just me speaking to your question. I would rather see a top-down approach to fixing something like this rather than a Band-Aid approach like has happened in the past and didn't exactly work that well.
Nope, probably didn't answer your question at all, because, but hopefully we did a little bit and gave our views on it. I mean, it's a complex question. It seemed easy when he first proposed it to us, and I was like, "Oh, sure. Well, here, ABC." But the more you think about it, and the more you put the thinking of the bigger picture, I think it just gets more and more complex at every point in time.
Yeah, it sure does. When you look at the amazing amount of interaction between units, and you can't look at just the faction anymore, because as we're seeing with these mixed order armies, it's pretty crazy what can be built. And you lose the different abilities, you lose the benefit of being all one book, but you gain so much, and they've kind of mitigated a lot of that with the ally limit and all that stuff. But still, there's so many moving parts that I don't think they really want to get in the habit of doing changes on the fly and then hoping that it doesn't break something down the road. Yeah,
I do wonder, and I just thought of this while we're talking about allies and the bigger thing. I do wonder if they could do a book like a Nighthaunt book, where it's a Saurian Guard book, for lack of imagination, but where you have these Temple Guard and you get new models, cool, everybody's happy. But they're, rather than being called the generic Saurus Guard, they're called, Elite Temple Guard.
Yeah.
Again, imagination. So you can use your old models. It's like the Black Coach thing.
Sure.
In Nagash, you can use the Legion Black Coach.
Yeah.
Or if you're in Night Haunt, you can use the Night Haunt Black
The Night
Mage.
Haunt, yeah.
In theory, they could be the same model, but they have different rules based on where your allegiance is. So they can make that little pocket allegiance, whereas, and they get a boost. You know why they get a boost? Because you don't have skinks.
Right.
You don't have the skink pieces of that army to supplement or benefit them. So they may have a different point cost. They may have different stats. They might be beefier. They might have different things. But that could be an interesting way of doing it.
Yeah.
Having two profiles pretty much for the same model.
Yeah.
As they kind of have you have precedence for this to happen.
Yeah.
It's just whether or not that's a route that Games Workshop wants to take.
Yeah. And as odd as it sounds, I mean, because it wasn't this way for a long time, but I have a lot of faith in the guys over there at Games Workshop because they've been addressing all of these things in ways that we're not even really looking at anymore. They have addressed a lot of issues with the game system by simply tweaking something far over here that has it has the effect of fixing all these other things in a different area. So I actually have a lot of confidence in their ability to address issues like this without, Band-Aid fixes. So,
well, and I think, my opinion of this is always tainted by the fact that I play match play 90% of the time.
Right.
I mean, that's the other thing is, I'm sure there's someone out there listening going, well, my Saurus are fantastic. They work really well for me. And thinking outside the box and getting them to work could happen with any unit. I just think sometimes we get so hyper-focused on one thing. And I also don't think that Saurus Guard are that bad. But
I think he was just using those as an example. I don't think he was saying they need to be fixed today. But he was using that as an example of a unit that kind of does underperform. And maybe they need to be addressed. But again, I think that I don't think they like doing that. I don't think that's how they like to hit their fixes anymore.
I don't think they like the knee-jerk.
Yeah. Right.
I think they've moved away from that. I think they have knee-jerked in the past. I will say that. We can be critical where it's due, I think. But I think going forward, I think we're seeing a different Games Workshop who's putting standardized rules. If you had told someone back in 8th edition or even the start of Age of Sigmar that's what they do,
this is where we would be.
People would probably laugh at you.
Yep.
They'd be like, well, it's not like a War Machine or something like that.
Right.
But I think now they're starting to do it. They're going for it, and I'm excited to see what they do.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So
hopefully we answered your question, or at least brought up some points to think about. So here's my thought. We've gone pretty long here between Shyish and that question was actually longer than I thought it was going to be. Perhaps we should hold off on our discussing the narrative campaigns until next time.
Next show, let's dedicate a big chunk of the time to the campaign. I think we'll have a more solid idea of what our campaign is going to look like at that point. And as listeners are going to realize, it's taken us a while to get from, yes, we want to do a campaign, to even getting some fairly solid on there. So I agree. I think that's a great idea. I think rather than trying to ham-fist through it, let's add it in as a section next time.
Yep.
Hopefully when we're in the same room. So
that'll be big.
We can bounce off each other.
There we go.
With our ideas and stuff. And also it'd be good to sit in the same room so we can maybe play a game.
Yeah. That'll be the fun part.
Yeah. Maybe a little skirmish game with what we have painted.
There you go.
So just be your army versus a board. I'll be the realm.
It's going to be a deadly realm.
It'll be fun. Yeah. I'll be rolling lots of sixes. But we'll see. But yeah, no, I agree. Let's wrap up the lore. Come back with the last section where we will talk about our last giveaway.
Yep. So, okay, through the magic of the internet, I have generated our final 2 winners for our miscellaneous gift boxes, each of which having super amazing prizes, not to exceed about $5 worth, I think. No, I don't even know what they're worth, but
they're truly worthless. I mean, priceless.
Priceless. That was it. Actually, one of the boxes this time has an airbrush in it, so it's not worthless.
Ooh.
So, yeah.
Okay.
And
So
not a cheap one either. Right.
Let's randomly select from our Patreon. Is that where we're going first?
Sure, we'll do Patreon first if you like.
Okay.
And the random.org says number 3, which is Fred Volsky, Voelzke. So, Fred, I have your email address here. I'm going to be dropping you a line shortly and let you know that you won a prize. Yay.
Congratulations. We'll be in touch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for supporting the show.
Yeah, we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And for our listeners who were able to put the hashtag Karnak, Karen, this is why I could never win. We have another random.org generator, and the lucky number is...
Dun, dun, dun. It is 41. Let me scroll down here. Hang on a second. Okay. Let me highlight that so I can change the color and remember who it was. So Andy Gray, who is at DET_alchemist. So I wonder if he's a Detroit alchemist. Andy Gray. So I will be reaching out to you as well, sir. Thank you guys for listening and taking part in the contest. Appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the boxes. I've got them all stacked up here. I'm going to ship them out now that I have all the names and numbers. Yay.
Cool. We're at the end of the show, Bill.
I think we are. I
really think our time together has come to an end.
Aww.
And now I get to go into the snowy hinterlands and shovel.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. Just keeps on snowing here. I mean,
joy.
Think that I live in the middle of a mountain range in Colorado.
Who would think that, other than the fact that you live in a mountain range in Colorado?
Yeah. So anyway, I'll go and shovel. You can go and get a suntan, I'm sure, since you live in the south.
It's raining here, so
it's pretty much like Florida, right?
Oh yeah, totally. 30 degrees outside.
Anyway, so thanks for listening, everybody. If you have any feedback, if you enjoyed the Realm Talk, or you have a different view on it, let us know. Either reach out to us on our Facebook page. We can be reached on Twitter as well, or just shoot us an email.
Yeah.
And we'd be more than happy to engage with you. And I look forward to seeing your guys' ideas. And what's your favorite artifact and spell? We're getting near the end of this. Once we get done with the Realm of Life, what one is your favorite? What's the one that your army comes from, or which one do you like playing in?
Yep.
I would love to hear that from people.
Indeed.
And also, what's your funnest story that's come from the realms?
Yeah.
In your games, if you're using the realm rules, because I know some people aren't, but if some people are, what's the craziest thing that's happened due to the realm that you've been in?
Yeah, that should be some fun stories.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Get in touch. Let us know.
There you go.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for listening, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks.
If you would like to get in touch with us, you can reach us on our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/rollingbadpodcast, all one word. Our Patreon page is at www.patreon.com/rollingbadpodcast, again, all one word. The Twitter account for the show is at @rolling_bad, and our individual Twitter accounts are, for me, at Bill Castello, Castello, and for Ryan, he is at RTGamer. All of our guests on the show will have their contact information in the show notes, and any products that we mention will also be similarly placed in the show notes. The music for the show is used courtesy of Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com and used under the Creative Commons license.